to all panelists and attendees so everyone can see your comments. All right, so let's get started. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily from GoWP. Welcome to today's webinar with Mike Killen on how to sell recurring revenue services. Really quick, I just want to say a couple words about GoWP for those of you who may not be familiar with us. At GoWP, we are a team that is devoted to helping agencies grow by providing exceptional outsourced WordPress services. So agencies that partner with GoWP are able to focus on the low-touch, high-value work that helps them grow because they can depend on GoWP to take care of the high-touch, low-value work that disrupts their day. Things like website maintenance and those never-ending content edit requests that come in from clients all times, day and night. And on top of that, we are just launching a new service to help agency owners struggling to get their page build outs done on time and within budget. And that is called GoWP Page Builds. With Page Builds, you get a dedicated WordPress developer ready to build your page designs. Excuse me. You are guaranteed a minimum of 2 hours dev time a day, and we send daily progress reports. And you also get an account manager who ensures that your specifications are being followed. And we even work in your own project management tools. So you can get more information about that at gowp.com/page-builds. You can email me if you have any questions, emily@gowp.com, reach out to me in the Facebook group. However you want to get in touch with me, I'm available. So happy to help. I also wanted to tell you about our Facebook group. So if you're watching in the Zoom call here, and not a member yet of the GoWP Niche Agency Owners Facebook group, we'd love to have you. This is a community of agency professionals who either already serve a niche or would like to niche down. So we're broadcasting this webinar live in the group now. It will be available there afterward. So you can go check it out, request to join, and I'll let you in. So a few notes, excuse me, a few notes regarding the webinar. I will be watching the chat, both in the Zoom call and in the Facebook group. So if you have questions, post them there. I'll get them to Mike, no worries. We're keeping an eye on that. So I already see that the Zoom chat is working. If you're watching over in the Facebook group, if you want to go ahead and say hello, and we can make sure that's working over there as well. I see here in Zoom, we've got Denise from San Francisco, Robert from Chicago. Hey, Robert. Hans from San Diego, Florida Man. Uh-oh, Florida Man's with us. Watch out. Just kidding, David. Matt just asked if there's a replay. I will be sending the replay out via email to anybody who registered as well, either tomorrow or the next day. But it also, like I said, it'll be available in the Facebook group too. That's Niche Agency Owners Facebook group. Okay, hey Jay. Jay is watching us over on Facebook. Great. Okay, looks like everything's working. So let's get to why we are here today. Selling recurring revenue services. And this topic was decided by our Facebook group. So we put a poll out there a couple months ago, and this topic was the most voted for. So really excited to cover this. Mike Killen, he doesn't need much of an introduction for most of you, but I'll give him a short one anyway. Mike is the founder of Sell Your Service. He gives marketing funnel agencies the confidence to create multiple scalable streams of income. And that frees them from the crushing constraints of the traditional outdated agency model. He's the best-selling author of From Single to Scale, Universe Fuel, and 5-Figure Funnels. And he believes that people's problems stem from a lack of confidence, and he's looking to change that. So Mike, welcome. How you doing?
That was pitch perfect. That was I need to take that and start putting that at the start of my talks. That was bang on. Can't believe that. That was amazing.
Good, I'm glad.
So you want me to just kind of kick off?
Yeah, let's kick off. Like
Awesome.
I said, I will be happy to interrupt Mike at any point. Any of you all have questions, so just put them up in the chat, and I will go ahead and mute myself, and we'll watch Mike take it from here.
Perfect. All right. So hello, everyone. I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. Actually, we're going to jump straight into the slides. I've got the camera because we're going to be doing a little bit of a whiteboard session later. But we are here today to talk about selling recurring revenue services. I've essentially packaged up everything that you need to know to start selling services and make recurring revenue monthly. That's what we're going to be talking about. And at a high level, what we're going to be looking at today is how to price and pitch recurring revenue services, what to include and deliver, and of course, how to actually upsell this in the future because it's not necessarily about us just getting live clients today. It might be that we want to start selling it to customers in the future, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. Even if you hate sales, even if you don't think you're good at sales, even if you think you're incredible at sales, hopefully the framework that I'm going to show you today will show you just how accessible a recurring revenue product or service can be for your business, especially as an agency. So this picture here is the time I went to court. Maybe it's the only time I've ever worn a suit. People make that joke a lot, but in my case, it's almost true. This was 2015, I want to say, and this was literally taken before I took a selfie just before I was taken into a courtroom because I was being sued. I was being taken to court by a customer who essentially, this is back when businesses like GoWP did not exist. And I was kind of making a website for them. I was making a website for them. And the designs that I'd sent to them from our designer, professional designer, who actually works for a theme developer now, so plenty of pedigree. They said that the cost of the cost of the website did not match the quality of the designs. They said that the designs were so, it was as if I had sent them kind of like children's drawings done in crayon. They were so disgusted with the quality of the design work. They said, we want an immediate refund. Now, with hindsight and 5, 6, 7 years of experience behind me, I'm able to say, you know what? I absolutely would have just given them that refund. I would have said, take back everything. Don't ever call me again, lose my number. The problem though, is I didn't give them a refund because ultimately I was worried about that lump sum of cash. And at the time, it wasn't even a huge amount. I was worried about that lump sum of cash coming out of my bank account. I was constantly stressed about my next invoice. And it gave me very little margin for error, gave me very little room to maneuver with. And when a problem like this came up, I basically didn't have a buffer to say, yeah, you want your £2,000 back or your £5,000 back, or I think at the time it was something ludicrous like £1,200. It was such a small sum of money kind of to where we are now. But at the time, I was like, well, I've already spent it, to be honest, because we've had to hire the designer and everything. So I was so stressed about where my next invoice was coming. I let it get so bad. Now, fast forwarding, we actually won the case. So I'm not a convicted convicted criminal yet, although you never know what's going to happen in 2020. But I was basically so worried about my next invoice that it gave me very little margin for error. And so with that, I was constantly stressed all the time, really, really worried about what was going to happen next. And at that time, it was in January 2015, I vowed never to rely on solely project-based income again. I said, that is never happening again. I'm going to take on projects, but I am absolutely categorically never going to allow my business to rely exclusively on income from projects and one-off projects ever again. This became such a fervent belief of mine, and I became so obsessed with it. That's basically what the version of my first book is about, From Single to Scale. I wrote out my business plan, and then that incredibly got published into a book of how I was going to take what was a very small consultancy, and eventually it went down to just me again as a consultant, and now we scaled it back up again into a scaled business that had multiple streams of income, including recurring revenue. And what was funny is that as soon as I turned my mindset around as to how recurring revenue is sold within the business, we actually never really had a problem with cash flow anymore, which, as I'm sure you'll all know as a business owner, the cash flow is king. It's so vital to the business. And when we looked at this, some of the reports that we looked at, it was really interesting. I've tried to do this so that it is clear for people with color blindness. I believe I've gone with an appropriate palette here, but the darker one that goes with the big spikes in blue, that's project income. And the one that's creeping up in red for us, it might be slightly lighter for you, is expenses. Conservative estimates show expenses growing roughly 10% year on year. That's conservative. People might say that inflation's around 2%, 4%, 5%. The data shows that actually with things like hidden inflation and ghost inflation, it's closer to 10%. So what cost you $100 today, next year will cost you $110. as those expenses continue to go up, we found repeatedly, and we've got data on this, that project income tends to stay about the same. People tend not to increase their prices. Now, I'm sure we've all experienced this. Some people call it troughs and peaks, feast and famine. You have a load of income come in at one moment. Emily, by the way, I'm blasting through this. So if at any point you need me to go back and just be like, hey, please, please, please just do that, okay?
I'll let you know. You're doing great. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So we have income come in, get that deposit, awesome. Anything above that red line is essentially profit. Whenever the blue line dips below that expense line, though, we've all had that. We're like, where in the hell am I going to find this extra $100, $500, $5,000, whatever? And then it goes back up again. We're like, way, everything's amazing. Anything below the red line is essentially costs. And if the project income dips below our expenses income, that's a bad situation to be in. And what we found is that even a small amount of recurring revenue, what it does is it buffers you against expenses. So our initial idea was actually for recurring revenue, our recurring revenue-based projects. We didn't even want that to be the bulk of the income. And you're absolutely not going to remove your project-based income. But it gave us margin and made our projects more profitable. What it did is it gave us a buffer and a margin between the recurring income that we would make, the expenses, and then the project income that would naturally come with that. And as that grew over time, what we found is that our recurring revenue ended up overtaking the average single project that would come in, because it's so much easier to take on a customer when they already work with you. And I know there's going to be a lot of people saying here, especially in periods like today, well, what's going to happen? Because I know a lot of my customers have cancelled maintenance plans and things like this. We'll talk about that in a bit. But long term, this is absolutely where you want to start positioning your business. So the first thing, of course, when we think about recurring revenue is like, yeah, but my customers don't have any money. And I hear this a lot. In fact, I hear this pretty much for every kind of project that I put forward and every type of sales tactic I put forward. You should charge $25,000 for your marketing service. You should have a $25,000 coaching program. You should charge $100 for this. You should charge $197 a month, whatever. And the first thing that comes up is my customers don't have any money. And I get another load of people say to me, yeah, but people don't want to pay every month. Can you imagine that? Me going up to a customer and saying, hey, remember that project I did for you last month? I actually want you to give me some more money for it this month. And these are the two big hesitations, the immediate roadblocks or perhaps misconceptions that people have before committing to a recurring revenue-based product. I've got news for you. Your customers actually want to pay monthly to help with cash flow. I can assure you that from a basic standpoint, your customers absolutely want to spread the cost of larger projects over a monthly cost. They also want to spread the cost of things like maintenance plans, marketing packages, any kind of recurring revenue product that we're going to put together. I'm going to show you how we do that. They also, more than anything, want reliable suppliers. Everybody here on this call has had to deal with someone who said, yeah, I can do this for you, and then they just disappeared. At some point, you might have even have been that unreliable supplier. Incredibly, by creating recurring revenue, you actually become a reliable supplier. If your cash flow is stable, your business is stable. If your business is stable, your supplier relationship is stable. The biggest problem for me this kind of previous quarter has not been customers leaving us, it's been suppliers dropping out. We've actually had to take out loans just to cover the cost of finding new suppliers because I didn't realize our suppliers were in such a bad shape. And finally, if you can give your customers reliable results every single month, they'll gladly pay for it. They absolutely don't care about whether it's a monthly cost. As I mentioned before, they actually want that because they want predictable cash flow. They don't want you to send a lump sum at the end of the year or once per project. And they want reliable results based on an ongoing basis. Currently in the marketplace, we're facing an explosion of businesses starting. It's almost been accelerated by the fact that everyone's trapped at home. It's like people thinking, oh, well, I'm bored now and I'm going to start new businesses. But it's actually been a trend that's been going on for a while now. The accessibility of technology, the accessibility of information, the systems and the processes that you and I are using today to make our business just work day to day, even a decade ago would have cost tens of thousands of dollars. I can't believe how affordable my hosting and CMS and all this kind of stuff is when I know full well what it was costing our corporate customers even a decade ago. So more businesses are starting. There's a huge advantage for you potentially because there's more potential customers out there, but it also means there's increased competition. So you've got less attention in the marketplace, which at the bottom left here, the number of people competing for your customers' dollars has also gone up. That's not even people in the same industry. You're not competing with other web designers or web design agencies or developers or anything like that, or marketers. You're competing with Netflix. You're competing with Wix, people who build it themselves. You're competing with accountants who say, well, actually, you really want to focus on getting your money situation sorted. You're competing with so many other businesses looking for those dollars. So unless you have an offer that's really, really desirable to the market, to the point where they think, well, this is so compelling, I can't help but buy it. It doesn't matter what it is you're selling. And again, we're going to go over that a little bit. There's also low levels of trust at the moment in the marketplace with customers. We're bombarded now with, I don't know what it is, thousands of adverts per day, thousands of marketing messages per day. Previously, we talked about reliable suppliers. You need to combat low levels of trust in the marketplace with your customers. Really quickly, for those who haven't met me, that's me with a Instagram filter on, I guess. I don't know how that did that. Must have been with the slide software that I've got. I'm the founder of Sell Your Service. I'm also considered the world's #1 sales coach for funnel builders, as Emily very kindly mentioned. I'm the author of From Single to Scale, Universe Fuel, and 5-Figure Funnels. I fundamentally believe that funnel builders and agencies and designers can build multiple scalable income streams to free themselves from the constraints of the traditional outdated agency model. It fits in beautifully with what companies like GoWP are saying, how we can take over a lot of the aspects of your business that you don't need to focus on, and that's a huge part of the core belief and message that I've got as well. So we're going to learn 3 things today. First of all, discovering hidden benefits. If you can discover hidden benefits to your products and services that are so compelling that you can't help but sell them because you think, this is actually genuinely good. I've got something here that's really useful. No matter if you've got the world's most, what you perceive to be dull, boring, standardized product, I guarantee we can find hidden benefits that you haven't thought about before. We're also going to look at setting your pricing. And finally, actually getting the deal. What happens when you make that offer towards the customer?
Hey, Mike, we have one quick question regarding your intro or your bio there. Where can people find 5-Figure Funnels?
It is literally in the publishing stage as we speak. Like, I kid you not, the Kindle version is currently being published. So as soon as it is live, I will let everybody on the planet know that it's live.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good question, by the way. Assets. Okay. Discovering hidden benefits. When we went over this initially, and we kind of went over it with our own business, we thought we'd stumbled across a gold mine. Very quickly, the way that I had set up my business, my agency, which we left in 2016, was all we pretty much did was install opt-in forms at the bottom of blog posts, but we made the benefits so compelling to the market that we were putting towards, in this case, insurance agents, that they couldn't help but buy it. They were like, this sounds incredible. Previously, we were like, just trying to sell that thing, that their actual deliverable opt-in forms. It turns out they wanted something slightly different. Rule 1 of selling marketing funnels is don't talk about marketing funnels. So similarly, rule 1 of selling maintenance plans is absolutely categorically do not talk about maintenance plans. This is the #1 mistake that I see people make when they try to set this up. I understand where your intentions are. It's a hell of a lot better trying to sell a maintenance plan than not trying to sell any kind of plan, but that's not what customers are buying. And this is initially where the roadblock comes up. And to be honest, you've got a long road ahead of you to be able to close the customer. And if it starts with the language of what you're delivering to them, they're instantly going to be turned off. Because the reality is, you might know what a maintenance plan is. You might think that your customer knows what a maintenance plan is, but I can guarantee you that any hint of confusion or lack of understanding means they're not going to buy. We think that the route to fixing this is education, and that's another huge misconception. I'm probably going to write an entire book about that, because it's fundamentally wrong to try and educate people on why a maintenance plan is a good idea. What we want to do is look at what they want and see if we can fix that with a maintenance plan. And you'll see how we do that on the whiteboard. Ultimately, and we're going to get a little bit a little bit high level here, maybe even a little bit philosophical, so I apologize for that. What people buy is transformation. Ultimately, what anyone ever buys is transformation. Typically, we call this the pursuit of superiority. Any action that someone takes, especially if it's an investment or what we call a sudden change like a purchase, is because they think it's going to make them better. They think they're going to be better than they were yesterday, or their life is going to be better than it was yesterday. They're not giving you maintenance plan. They're not going to pay for maintenance plans just because they've got money hanging around. They're not going to buy stuff just because they've got money in their pocket. They're buying it because they want a better version of themselves tomorrow. So we're going to jump over to the whiteboard now. So first of all, ta-da! Can people read this? Is this the right way around? I know that Facebook flips it, but.
Yep, it looks good.
All right, fantastic. So this might not be anything that you immediately go, oh, I can fill in the answers for this, but hopefully the model will be simple enough for you to think, yeah, actually, we could do this with a scrap of paper. Obviously, this is recorded. I believe I go over this in the blog post as well, and this model is pretty common. You've probably even seen it before. So here we have your customers where they are now. So this is today, and they basically have a bunch of problems in their life that they can't fix by themselves. So these types of problems are not, oh, I need a maintenance plan, I need a website. No one wakes up thinking, I need a marketing consultant. As much as I would like to think that they do, they don't. They have problems that affect them day to day. These are typically very illogical problems. They're emotional. They are stressed. They are worried. They might not even be completely sure of what they're stressed and worried about. Even your customers who have got rock solid businesses and you think, my God, these guys are doing like seven and a half figures a year. I could comfortably help them. I promise you that they are worried about things. They're stressed about stuff. They wake up thinking, am I going to have to do another 12-hour shift today with work? Am I having problems hiring people? Am I going to be able to make it to my kids' sports game at the weekend? Am I going to have to work at the weekend? All of this stuff is their problems that they're focused on. This is what we want to focus on to start with. Like I said, a lot of them are emotional things. So they feel stressed. They think about stuff. They overthink, or they might worry about what their status is. And there's also stuff that they can't necessarily change, so we would call that a trend. Let's say that their industry has also currently got a lot of competition growing in that space. I know the home delivery market as in home food delivery, has got a massive increase. That's increased competition. There's nothing they can do about that. So those three things coming together there are real problems for their business. Immediately, and problems for themselves, immediately they might be thinking, I don't have enough leads. I need to get some more customers in. Why are they stressed about that? The reason they're stressed about not having enough leads is because they don't know how they're going to afford payroll. Are they growing? Don't underestimate playing on the idea that a lot of people just want to know that they're running a solid business. A lot of people might not have this idea of like, oh my God, how am I going to afford payroll? How am I going to afford the rent? They might be thinking, I actually just don't have the clarity of how I'm going to grow. In fact, a lot of the businesses I know who are in the $1 million plus mark, they're kind of between those two stages of successful lifestyle business and kind of the beginning of a scale business. They're thinking, I don't know how I'm going to take this to the next level. I've managed to get to 7 figures. How the hell am I going to get it to the next level? So those are their problems. And they have an idea that in the future or tomorrow, they're going to have a better lifestyle. These are the results that they're looking for. These are the benefits that they're seeking. And again, these are the emotions that they want to start feeling. The difference between what most people sell as results or benefits is basically, oh, in the future, you will have a maintenance plan. I don't care. I don't care whether you call it a maintenance plan, whether you call it security process, cleanup crew, whatever. It's irrelevant to me, because ultimately what I'm looking for is confidence. I'm looking for clarity. I want to know that I'm not going to have to spend another 6 hours trying to update our website. And this stuff happens. This stuff really, really happens if you'll dig deep enough. And 99% of the time, what your customers are trying to do is they're trying to get there, and they basically hit, I've mentioned this word already, a big roadblock. Now, this roadblock is made up of a bunch of different layers. It could be a myth. So it could be something that they mistakenly believe. It could also be a mistake. Or it could be something they've tried before. So, for example, at a really high level, let's say that your current customers, their biggest problem is that Friday night they have to work late because their website occasionally gets hacked, right? So they have to work late Friday night. It's got nothing to do with maintenance, nothing to do with selling your products. This is entirely about them. They have to work late Friday night. They don't get enough time to spend with their family. Again, genuinely massive problem. And they have absolutely no idea what to do. So they have absolutely zero clarity. In the past, what they've tried to do, and again, this is common stuff, this, is they've said, okay, well, we're going to hire an in-house developer, even non-tech teams. I personally know of a translation and a travel company that have hired in-house development teams, huge upfront cost, and they ended up not going anywhere. So they've tried that before. The human mind is really funny. When we say, oh, okay, I've tried this before, that's probably the only pathway. So they've tried a bunch of stuff before to get to this future where they're able to spend time with family. They also have confidence and clarity in what they're actually their website's doing, and perhaps they have a bit more protection as well. I can, promise you that businesses don't want their website just to go down for the sake of it. What your job is to help them get over that. Completely irrelevant of what they've tried in the past. You need to come up with a set of stages for them to go through, and this is going to be the scary part, and you'll just have to kind of go along with this. Even if you think this process has got nothing to do with your product, as horrible as that sounds, I want you to think about what would the steps be to take them from where they are now to where they want to be in the future. The steps aren't necessarily, first of all, they need to install a maintenance product. That's not what the steps are. Now, it's very tempting to put that in, but I want you to think about it at a higher level and say, well, if we didn't have a product, if we didn't already have the preconception that we're going to do a maintenance plan, I promise you we will get to the deliverables. I promise you we will. What would you do outside? What advice would you give outside of what the immediate product is that you've got? Off the top of my head, you basically, probably want to write a list of some kind of everything that tends to go wrong, identify top problems, This part here, clarity, there's probably going to be some kind of feedback. They actually want to get feedback and a report, for lack of a better term. And we're just thinking about and I don't like the term agnostic, and maybe someone can help me out. Something that is basically outside of what we would deliver for the product. This here is basically the benefits that you would put forward to the market. We could actually do this now immediately. Can I get people to put in the chat a really common problem that a customer has and a really common kind of goal that they might have, like something they want to do? We'll go on with that. If people could just put that in the chat, and we'll use that later, and we'll kind of go through that, and I'll show you how we can put that together. These are the benefits that your customers want. Even though this is a problem, we can reframe this as a benefit. We can say, finally, no more Friday nights wasted having to update your own website. What if I could give you total clarity on what was happening within your business? What if I could protect your income stream? How would it feel to be able to spend Friday and more time with your family? At the moment, do you feel like you have complete zero clarity and zero insight on your website and on your business? We can fix that. Notice how I'm not mentioning the product. Notice how I'm not mentioning how we do that with maintenance plans. I'm talking about where they are now and agitating that, and where they could be in the future. And we can even throw in some of these roadblocks. Even if you've tried hiring a developer in the past, I want to show you how you can completely protect your website. These are the types of things that people want. Here we go. Problem. Site hasn't been updated forever in either a year. So that's a really interesting point. That's a problem to you, Chandler. I don't know that. I don't know that as a website owner. As someone who has dozens of websites, I don't know if all my websites have got updated or not. It's not something I'm waking up thinking about. It might be if they do wake up thinking that, but don't take for granted that your customers have got that kind of knowledge. The problem is actually every single day I log in, and we have this, we've seen this in Facebook groups, every single day I log in and the homepage is messed up. Someone's hacked in there and put in a load of spam messages, I constantly get these spam messages come in. That's the problem they're worried about. I can see our bounce rate going through the roof. Customers leaving through analytics. I can see that happening. Fewer people buying because our checkout page gets messed up. I don't know that it's to do with the website not being updated. We want this agnostic of the problem. Now, like, it might be that your customers know that their website hasn't been updated, but chances are that's not what they're waking up thinking about. That's not what they're sweating over. Possibly infected. Yeah, so sorry, you did put that in. Update speed optimization. The website is embarrassing and they don't want their leads to look at it. That's a good one. Yeah, I kind of like of that one. It's like they're actually ashamed of their website. They're not entirely happy about putting it out there because it gets hacked and infected all the time, maybe. But what I want us to start thinking about is this is hard, guys. I completely understand it. I want you to think of problems that have got nothing to do with you. I love you guys, but it's not about you. The radio station that your customers are tuned into is WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's all they care about. They actually don't even care about their website. Genuinely, they don't care about their website. It's a tool. It's a means to an end for them. If we can think of problems and solutions and futures that are irrelevant of the product or the service that you are delivering, that's how you're going to start getting through to them. If I start offering clarity, more time to spend with your family, less confusion over what's happening with your business, if I can start offering that, it's got nothing to do with the website whatsoever. It's tied to it, but it's not the thing they were thinking of, or they're waking up thinking about. So the biggest one is, yeah, we don't have any sales. Here's what I want you to think about. Sales, leads. Nike took 10 years to get to $2 million in revenue. Now they make $2 million, it's something like an hour or something. There's no business in the world that's not suffering from leads and sales. Every single business in the world wants more leads and wants more sales, categorically. Why? The question is, why do they need more leads? You might go, oh, obvious, they want more money. Why? Are they looking to sell? Do they need to expand? Does the owner need a better lifestyle? What would they do with those new leads and sales? This is probably the number one question we have to address. Yeah, sure. They're waking up thinking, I want more leads and sales. Why? What's their motivation behind thinking that that's going to fix it? I would argue that leads and sales is actually a roadblock. I think it's a myth that businesses think they need leads and sales. They keep hitting that saying, if only I had more leads and sales. I believe the business needs more leads and sales. Why? Well, because that means I'll end up having more time with my kids. It means I'll be able to have more protection over the business. I'll have better insight over the business. I'll feel like a more responsible business owner. I can assure you that I have the same level of hunger and sickness when I view our invoices and statements every single month, going from wherever we were at a couple of grand a month up to with our agency, the 1.4, the 1.8 million we did last year. Why do they want leads? Why do they want sales? More money, more problems. Could not agree more. So let's switch this back. So the phrase that we constantly use at the office is sell futures, not features. That's what I want you to think about. Sell the future that your customer is going to get, not the features that you are delivering. This is what my sales coach, Sean Mize, who wrote a book called Anyone Can Coach, which I highly recommend people reading. Don't sell the product, sell the person. It's got nothing to do with the product. And again, we'll actually do this as a demonstration in a bit. I want you to think about the person and what they want to experience. You might think, yeah, but it's just a maintenance product. No, it's not. If you can give someone back their evenings, it's not just a maintenance product. You're giving someone back quality time with their family. And don't ever underestimate the value that you can bring to a family. The value that you could bring to the business owner saying, hey, man, I want you to know that from now on, you actually don't need to worry about any of this because we've got it. You don't need to worry about why your opt-in forms all of a sudden don't work. That's what we saw. I consistently saw my email leads go down. Why do I care about email leads? Because I know that the growth of my business is wholly dependent on the number of subscribers I've got. And I would see it just drop off for a day or two. I was always like, why is that? Because whenever I was updating my opt-in forms, it was going badly. Hence why we use GoWP now, frankly. So those are your hidden benefits. Here's what I want to look at now. Is this about setting your price? As I said, we're blistering through this. But luckily, I've got a book coming out about it soon, so you guys can go ahead and pick that up and read that to your heart's content. Setting your pricing. There are three things that people seem to listen to, and I have no idea why. People seem to listen to in regarding to price. They listen to their colleagues, like our peers, people in our group, people at other word camps, people at networking events, and they'll go, "Oh, that's very expensive." I remember the first time I said I'm going to start charging 10 grand. It wasn't even 10 grand. It was like £9,997 for a website. And people at my networking event were like, "That's crazy money. I've been doing this 25 years. I was doing it back when, Dreamweaver hadn't even come out yet. We've never charged that much for money." And I would listen to that. We have customers. If you go up to a customer and say, "Hey, that product that you bought from me for 2 grand, 3 grand, 4 grand, I'm actually going to start charging 10 grand from I'm going to start 25. Cuckle, who also provide the same kind of products and service, and they don't charge that kind of money. And this could be for recurring revenue, it could be for one-off products, whatever. So we've got the competition. And for some reason, we listen to these three people when it comes to our price. And the reality is that your price is your price. I've just had an internet connection come up. Am I good, Emily?
Yep, you're good. We did lose your sound for maybe it was about 15 seconds, but it came back up.
Okay, I was just ranting and raving. That's fine.
Yeah.
The reality is that your price is your price. It's got nothing to do with your competition. It's got nothing to do with your colleagues. And it's actually got nothing to do with your customers. And the reason we know that is because every time that any business has ever looked at their sales process and adjusted their pricing strategy, their customer focuses in it somewhere, but everyone says the same thing. No one's walking around with wads full of cash saying, "I've got money to burn." Everyone's going to say that's expensive, but your price is your price. So when it comes to setting the price for our marketing funnels, let's force a habit. When it comes to setting the price for our recurring revenue products, and tell me if you do this in the chat, is you write up the proposal, you look at the list of stuff that you want to deliver to the customer, you look at the list of stuff that they want, and you try to basically guess the price. Let me know if you do this. I know that I used to do it with my proposals, is I'd write up a list of like the specs or the features or whatever, and then I'd look at that and be like, how much do I want to charge for that? 2 grand, I didn't really ask them their budget. 5 grand seems like a lot of money. 2,000 doesn't seem, and you kind of just like guess it basically. And I know that I've done that repeatedly, perhaps. And categorically, this is the wrong way to do it, and we need to actually flip it. First of all, if you want to start charging customers every month for a product for recurring revenue, or every quarter or every week, whatever, you need a revenue goal. As crazy as this sounds, this thing that you figure out what you're going to charge customers is how much you need to make per year. What is your revenue? 250,000 a year, might be 100,000, 60,000, might be $1 million, doesn't matter. You need to understand what your goal is first. And then we break it up pretty much. We know there's 12 months in a year. And let's say that you think a 50-50 recurring revenue split sounds about good. You think, yeah, okay, 50% coming from projects, 50% coming from recurring revenue. That seems fair to me. That means I can still go after projects, but I'm also covered as we grow. That's 125,000 over 12 months, which gives you a goal of 10,000 per month. The amount of businesses, especially agencies and freelancers, who say that they want more income, they're constantly looking for more leads, constantly looking for more sales, going back to that point I made on the whiteboard. And now I go, great, okay, so what do you need to make per month? And I'm like, well, I don't know, hadn't really thought about it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, do you need to make $3 million a year sales, or do you need to make $3,000 sales? Because those are vastly different numbers. The concept is identical. The concept is absolutely the same. If we're selling mining machinery, which runs into the hundreds of millions of dollars, I can assure you that those guys have as strong targets as a business that thinks I need to do 120 grand a year. So unless you've got a completely firm idea on how much you need to make first, it's going to be almost impossible to figure out what you should charge for a multiple of reasons, and we'll talk about this. Here's a couple of pricing points, pretty much identical. I don't think there's a huge difference between 105 and 197. If you knew that you need to make $10,500 per month, if you charge $105 per month, that means you need 100 customers. At $197 per month, just 54 customers gets you over that amount for almost half the number that you would need. So how many customers do you want to work with? And this again is a really important question to understand and ask yourself, because until you have built out a hyper scalable product and a hyper scalable market, 100 customers could kill you. One of the first questions that we tend to ask when we do this in person is, if I gave you 1,000 customers tomorrow, they've got their wallets ready, they're literally ready to buy from you. They've got their wallets and their credit cards out. I'll give you 1,000 customers. How does that make you feel? And most agency owners go, I feel sick. That would kill me. I physically wouldn't be able to handle that. It's like, okay, well, clearly there's a problem with your deliverability and your scale there. So I want us to think about how many customers do you want? And the reality is, if you can sell a $105 product per month, you can sell a $197 product per month. And that pretty much halves the number of customers that you need to bring in 120 grand a year into your business, 125 grand into your business. So if any of you have been thinking, I've got no idea what I'm going to price, no idea what I'm going to charge, this is a pretty good pricing point, pretty good starting point. And if you are only delivering maintenance plans and care plans using something like GoWP, that would still leave you with a decent profit margin, a really decent profit margin. And all you would have to do is focus on selling that future that we talked about earlier. Selling those steps, selling that future, selling those benefits. Now I want you to list out for that 197 a month, which is what, 2,400 a year? What do I get as the customer? So finally, I'm going to let you focus on some features. I want you to flip it again and stop thinking about it from the perspective of the customer for your pricing, and think, if someone was giving me $197 a month, what could I afford to do with that? What can I buy with that? Whose skills and services can I buy with that? Could I give a portion of that away to get someone else to do it? It sounds like I'm I'm basically setting this up to sell GoWP. I promise you, this was a very midline process when we went through it. Just so happens that it fits in beautifully. What can you afford to give me as the customer? If I give you $197 a month, what can you, the supplier, afford to give me? And if we can relate this to the customer journey, that arc that we went over previously, from now to the future, you've got yourself an extremely compelling recurring revenue product. What you deliver is security updates, plugin updates, unlimited edits, hosting, maybe some bonus training, some white label stuff you could throw in there. That's physically what you give them. But what the customer gets is those future benefits. They're less stressed. They have more time to focus. And if you're going after the right type of business and you say, hey, how much time did your website spend down? Or how many sales did you lose to a badly optimized website? I've got no idea. Well, first of all, you need to understand that. What are you really working on? What is you really focused on? They go, you know what, we really want to get to that next level. The past 6 months have been extremely difficult for us, as with all businesses. I want a plan to be able to get forward and move ahead. Great. What if we could give you feedback consistently on what was working and what wasn't working within your own business? They want to start spending time on their goals. Ultimately, this term here, self-reliance, that is actually what all customers are moving towards. This pursuit of superiority that we talked about earlier, that transformation, what they want is to feel more self-reliant. They want to feel, yeah, I've got this. Don't underestimate the ability, the need and the desire for someone to think, yeah, I've got this. I'm good with this. I'm doing all right with this. Yeah, this is all right. If you can give that to a customer, and I can assure you that taking care of the admin side of their website, I can promise you that allows them to do that. Finally, getting the deal. Promise you we're going to have time for some questions. So previously we talked about some problems and some promises. I'm actually going to go through that right now in the chat. Here we go. So I want you to make a promise about the future, a problem that they're seeing now, a mistake they're making, a trend they can't control, what the name of your solution is, the steps that they've got to take, ask them if they're serious, and then we give them the close. We just click here, sign here, pay this. So, getting folks to come back to the restaurant after COVID. Yeah, so I'm going to show you how we can, I'm going to show you how you can start getting customers back to your restaurant after COVID. The problem is that the bottom of your business has basically fallen out. What you've probably been trying to do is actually increase your marketing, or maybe you've just stopped serving at all, and that's probably going to kill your business going forward. We know that there was anything you could do about COVID, and absolutely nothing you could do about coronavirus. We have this process called get customers in, or seats on asses, as I would call it. The first thing you need to do is start reaching out to your current customers, go through those steps. If you're serious about getting customers back into the restaurant, I need you to click here. I need you to sign this. I need you to pay this. That is the future that you're selling to the customer. And you take that same narrative through the entire process. Notice I didn't mention maintenance plans. And I can promise you that getting customers back into the business is something that your maintenance plans can do. If you can work it, or a recurring revenue product, doesn't even have to be a maintenance plan. This is just a recurring revenue product. I want us to perhaps step out of that care plan area. For $497 a month, I can start getting customers back into your restaurant. And immediately, that's a lot of money. That's expensive. Our last guy was cheaper. I've seen it cheaper. Immediately, and especially in today's market, you're going to come across this a lot. You're going to come across this a huge amount. Seats on asses, where else would it be? I don't know what they do out in the States. Kevin, I didn't want to make any assumptions, but you're right. In the UK, that's how we eat. But whenever we come up to a customer, and now this could be at the sales stage, could be at the closing stage, the proposal stage, when they're about to sign, and they go, look, that's a lot of money. That's really expensive. Our last guy was cheaper. I've seen it cheaper elsewhere. No matter what it is that you're selling, this kind of objection is going to come up, especially with recurring revenue products. So I'm going to show you how we change that. The first thing you need to not do is bring it back to money. I see this a lot. People say, oh, it's expensive. You go, well, it's not really, because, when we count into profit, and actually we're actually extremely competitive, we'll match a price. So we find that we're quite midline. Don't bring it back to price at all. Don't even bring it up. It's got nothing to do with it. The price is the price. Okay. Got absolutely nothing to do with it. So never bring it back to money. Also, don't argue with them or try to change their mind. That's the biggest kind of misstep that your customer is almost expecting, is they want you to argue with them, and they're expecting you to argue with them. And also, don't try to be clever. I've sometimes seen people who, when they say, look, man, this is really expensive, they've tried to say, look, if you think it's, if it's expensive getting it done like this, just wait until you get it done cheaply. Or they show that meme of the guy who gets the tattoo done for $5, and it's like a really bad one. Don't try to be clever. Those are funny in our circles, but I can promise you that that's not going to make a customer want to spend money with you anymore. Don't argue with them. Don't bring it back to money. Don't try to be clever. Instead, all that they're saying is they want to be heard, they want to be acknowledged, and they want to be listened to. They also want to know that both of you are on the same side of the table. We think the customer is saying no. We think that that's what they're saying. But if we go back over those statements, the word no is not mentioned in there once. They are stating a fact. Just like in the UK, we will consistently state about the weather. It is just a thing. Man, weather's rough today. Yep. Absolutely nothing I can do with that. If I was to argue with you about that, you'd think this guy's a maniac. The hell is he talking about? As far as the customer is concerned, it is expensive. It is a fact. That is a lot of money. Yep, it is. Sign here. They want to be heard, they want to be acknowledged, and they want to be listened to. They want to know that you're on the same side of the table as them. So when the customer says, man, that's a lot of money, that's expensive, you agree with them. You ask them what they think, and then you just repeat the close, okay? Agreeing with people is the fastest way to reach an agreement. The contract is an agreement. And if you want to get there quickly, both sides need to agree on stuff. So start agreeing with people. If they ask you for a discount, you say, I've discounted as much as I can do. You know I have. This is the best price that I could have possibly put forward. You know I've already discounted it. Ask them what they think. Do you think I should be able to give you a discount? And we'll talk about this in terms of these ones, because I don't think the discount thing comes up as much as people think it does. I think that's a lot of money. So why do you want a discount? Well, it's a lot of money. It's expensive. Our last go was cheaper. I've seen it cheaper. Yeah, you probably have seen it cheaper. Why do you think we're more expensive? Yeah, I have seen it. I know you've seen it cheaper. Why aren't you going elsewhere? Why aren't you going to that cheaper place then? They're talking to you. Recently, and not even that recently, we bought a TV, and I was in the store and I said to the guy, look, man, the other place down the road, Curry's, has got this for like £200 cheaper. Now, the reason I didn't want to go to Curry's is because last time I bought a TV from them, it broke one day after its warranty and no one wanted to replace it. The place I was going to now has like a 3-year standard warranty. Was it worth 200 quid? I don't know, or 100 quid or whatever it was. And the guy asked me, I couldn't believe it. He said, okay, so why aren't you buying it from Curry's? And I was like, he's got me here. And I had to admit to him. And he went, yeah, it happens a lot. And he agreed with me. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm on the same side of the table with you. I agree. It sucks. And I hate it. That's why we have a 3-year, and you can even extend it to 5 if you want. So why wouldn't you buy from that cheaper place? You know, in the past, man, we've had it before. We hired someone. It was much cheaper than this. Okay. Can I ask why you're talking to me or why you wouldn't go back to them? I agree. They probably are cheaper. I completely agree with you. Why wouldn't you buy from them again? You know, they weren't really reliable. They didn't pick up the phone. Man, I know what that's like. We're not like that. Sign here. We can get started today. Bosh. I love this one. Let's do a pros and cons list. Say, do you know what? I don't want to do classic closes on you. Mike Killen, my sales coach, is constantly telling me to be like a, you know, like something out of Wolf of Wall Street. I don't like that style. So instead, how about we make a pros and cons list? You're not sure about it. You're not sure about the price. Write a pros and cons list. I promise you that they will be unable to think of any more cons other than it's quite a lot of money and it'll probably take a bit of time to start it up. But they will come up with pro after pro after pro after pro. And you can jump in as well. You say, okay, what's a pro? Well, we'd finally get our website sorted and fixed and I'd feel confident. Great. What's a con? The investment. Sure. What's a pro? Well, I feel it's going to give you more time to focus on your business. What's a con? There's some teething problems to start with as we uncover a few things, but they're fixed probably within the first month. Okay, what's a pro? Get them to go back to a pro, and I promise you they will not be able to think of any more cons. You go, look, Mrs. Customer, you seem like someone who makes pretty rational decisions. We've got a ton of reasons why you should buy here, and only 2 reasons why you shouldn't. Sign here, we can get started today. And my favorite one, man, this is really expensive. Yep. Sign here. And they're not saying no, they're just giving you a statement. Man, the weather sucks. Yep. Sign here. Man, my son's a real moron. Yep. Sign here. They want to know that you're on the same side of the table as them. So hopefully I've shown you how to discover hidden benefits no matter what it is that you're selling, irrelevant of the product, irrelevant of whether it's recurring revenue. We've also set your pricing, just gone over some real simple maths. First of all, understand how much you need to make and work backwards from that, and getting the deal. There's a load of reasons why someone shouldn't buy, but there are infinitely more reasons why someone should buy. Question time. We have got time for questions, and I'm happy to hang around. I know that we've probably pushed it, so.
That was awesome, Mike. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thoroughly enjoyed it myself, and seemed like people in the chat were also quite engaged. So that was excellent. Thank you so much for that.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Let me just let people know here in Facebook. So if you guys have any questions, put them up in the chat. I'm watching. There was one question from Beth, and she wanted to know about your Sell Futures Not Features book. Is that coming out?
I am writing that. It's probably a way off. They take a bit to write. Appreciate the enthusiasm, but it's a little way off. Thank you.
Very well. Good. I'm trying to say, I don't think I missed any other questions for the most part. A lot of people were engaged, leaving some problems that they had. Let's see. Chandler says, any
awesome.
thoughts on bringing more people into our company? These are great things once we have a client on the hook.
Yeah. So first of all, you can hire by the hour now. That's like a legitimate way to be able to hire. My first ever hire was my mum to basically go through content and copy and just check it. And I paid her for like an hour a week and she would go through it. And from then we've been able to scale that out. Immediately thinking, oh, well, we have to fork up this huge salary. I wouldn't worry about that. You can hire by the hour if you understand what it is that you want to deliver. And if you understand what it is, if you've got this process written out, this is what we need to deliver, and we need someone to figure out this bit here. Start talking to people, start having conversations, say, look, we've got a budget of $100 a month. We need someone else to do it. On the other side, again, it sounds like I'm pandering. GoWP has been massively important to the scale of our business, right? Because it's basically, I'm able to offload a huge amount of the admin side. So if you've got sales and marketing, you've then got ops, so you're delivering actual delivery of the stuff to the client. And then you've got admin. Companies like GoWP have been able to take care of a huge part of the admin part and of the operations, actually delivering it to the customer. So it's allowed us to focus on sales. So you've got plenty of options out there if you want to look around for it. And if people want more, then I've got a YouTube channel where I talk about this at youtube.com/sell your service. The website, I'll talk about that in a bit at the very end. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can start hiring. Hire by the hour to start with.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate the kind words about GoWP. That's nice to hear always. Let's see. Chandler did clarify. He said, sorry, that wasn't clear, meaning more clients then apply these processes to get them to stay and sign up. So any thoughts on bringing more clients into our company and apply these processes to get them to stay and sign up?
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. So you've already got some customers, or the actual approach of getting new customers to market? I mean, unfortunately, we've got like minutes left. If you've already got customers, if you've already got people you've done a previous work for, give them a call and find out what their problems are, find out this part and find out what their goals are, and then work out, actually, as a maintenance product or some kind of recurring revenue product, able to bridge that gap. Don't ask them saying, hey, we've got this new maintenance product. We've got stuff that we want to sell you. Ask them, hey man, it's crazy times at the moment. Can we get on a call? I just want to spend 45 minutes finding out what your problems are, anything you're noticing in the market, how that makes you feel, and the types of results and benefits you're looking for, and what you're looking to feel in the future. And you can start putting those recurring revenue clients towards them. If you're starting from scratch, I would do some research. I would ever think about these ones, think about what one appeals to you. And I would just start writing sales content, putting it on your website, have a product page for it. The sooner you've got a product page and a sales page and some kind of collateral, maybe even a brochure, the more real it is. And that's when you'll start attracting customers.
Wonderful. Sounds like we may have to do another webinar on some lead gen or something.
This might surprise people, but I really like talking about sales. So that's fine with me.
Fantastic. Chip over in Facebook, and I know we're just at 2 o'clock, so we'll try and get this done in. Over on the Facebook group, he said, any ideas on how to sell something that people don't know they need yet? Something they may need in the future?
Yeah. You look at their wants, exclusively look at their wants. It's a good question because you can't sell what someone doesn't want, even if they need it. We know globally the world needs to start eating less meat and more vegetables. Okay, it's in whatever angle you want to come at, from the environmental, from the health aspect, we need to change our diet. I don't want to do that. I want to eat burgers and bacon and cheese. So it's much easier to sell what people want. And the people who are making that transition are being sold what they want. They want ethical lifestyles, ethical farming. They want an ethical future. If they know, if they think they've got no idea they're going to need this in the future. Start looking at what their goals are. That's what we're driven by, is by our goals. If you look at a company that's $1 million and their next big growth problem is going to get to that 1.5 million or doubling to 2 million, that's a huge, massive amount of effort. And you know categorically that you've got a product that will help them do that. All you need to do is say, if you're looking to get from 1 million to $2 million, I've got a process that's going to be able to make that easy. If they don't know that they're going to need it, of course you're not going to be able to sell it, but they do know what they want in the future. And that's all we can try and sell. As we say, sell futures, not features. It's a good question. I'm happy to do more in the chat.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think that's all the questions we got, and we're right at 2 o'clock, 2:01 in fact. So I think we can call it a day. And Mike is in the Niche Agency Owners Facebook group. So if you guys have more questions, throw them up on the video and he'll see them. You can tag them and we'll get to them there. Mike, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Welcome. Nothing but rave reviews, both in the Zoom chat here and over on Facebook. Everybody loved it. So thank you for your time, and thank you for putting together a really great presentation.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. Cheers, Emily. And thank you for being so good putting it together. I know how much hard work it is to get a guest on to do talk. I really do. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Cool.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
Yep. Have a good day, everybody. We'll see you later.
Bye. Bye, everyone.